Okay, let's get to the
Okay.
what I imagine to be a tough question. I was trying to answer it myself, and I was like, oh man, I had to come up with rules. Anytime I'm asked a question like this, I
Yeah, yeah.
become well. Okay, the question is, what are your most cherished cassettes? Perhaps your top uh VH7. I
Right.
started VH6, but I was like, let's be generous. And
Yeah, give a little wheel.
instantly, first I was pleased with myself to get the VH thing in there. And then my next thought, as it always is with these kind of lists, whether asked or asking, as I just picture that scene in High Fidelity where Rob Gordon's character eventually ends up calling that journalist from the phone booth to try to change his top
Yeah,
five to the
yeah.
point where she who was romantically becoming interested in him just like, don't call me anymore. Because that's what I would be like. I am like, whenever these questions come
Uh,
up, I just become like apoplectic, and then I start to come up with
Getting crushed
rules.
by the nerd wave, man. I get it.
Oh,
It's just like whoosh. I mean,
yes. So so
I
how did it hit you? What did you come up with?
okay. So I've been asked this question before. So VH surprise, surprise. And I have some go tos, but really, what I like to do is I love a lot of my tapes, all of them. For different reasons. But of course, there's ones that have a higher love. And I like to pick ones out that just mean a lot to me and explain why. So that's really all it is. But so we'll start from the stack. Okay, The Pit. I love this movie. It is super weird. It's bizarre. Okay. Um, I suggest if you are into really bizarre 80s horror movies, I would watch this. Highly suggest it. It's one of my favorite movies. I love this one in particular because I got it from a friend of mine years ago, and it is a fairly scarce Jetline release. I have two of these, by the way. This one's in better shape, if you can believe that. And just love this tape. Just a sweet tape and one of my favorite horror movies. So kind of exemplifies that. It's got amazing. I like the wear on it, and it's just a cool tape. I love it. It just brings me happiness.
That's
This
awesome.
one, they're fine. Don't worry about it. They fell. This Monster in My Pocket cartoon that came with a Monster in My Pocket figure. This
Oh,
is so cool to me. And my friend Matt Ridgway sent me this. Be a shout out to him. Great person. Awesome dude. This is cool. Like, look how cool this is. Like,
yeah,
I love the marketing. I love the packaging. I love that it's Monster in My Pocket. It's still sealed. I will not be
yeah.
getting this graded for anyone that's wondering. I'm not getting it graded. Um, and then I just love this. I actually had two of these, believe it or not. I found one and my friend gave me one. And then here's a fun story. So I posted this, and a friend of mine back in Jersey, we used to play baseball together when we were like 11 or 12. Okay, so that's how far back we've known each other, and we've stayed in touch kind of over the years, right? Here and there. And he was like, "Hey, man, I need that Monster in My Pocket thing." And he's like coming out of nowhere with this, right? He doesn't like look like a VHS collector or anything. Like, it's just like, um, but he collects Monster in My Pocket, and he was like, "I need this. How much? How much do you want for it?" And I was like, "I don't know, man," because I had two of them, right? Because if it was just one, I wouldn't even thought about it twice. But I did have two of them, and he's an old homie. Like I said, an old baseball homie when we were kids, and I let it go for a really nice price to him, and he was really thankful, and it was really cool. So that's another reason I really cherish that one, is because I had two at one point, and I got to give it to an old childhood friend, and it just cool connection of a memory. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Um, okay. Microwave Massacre on Midnight Video. You've probably seen my mug on the internet kissing this tape or hugging it or something. This tape started it all for me. I remember when I was about 17, maybe 18. I was meeting a friend, and this was like back when we were using MapQuest and like you had to like the flip phones and stuff. So they were going to meet me at this place, and I was, because it was a place that we both knew, right? Because we were going to meet up and go somewhere. And there was a little news store, right? That used to be a video store. And I walked in there just looking around, and I found that tape there for like $1. And I picked it up. I was like, "Oh, I remember this. This is killer. This is $1." And I just remember falling in love at that moment and being like, this is like the coolest thing ever for $1. You know, and like just being like 17, 18 years old and be like, this is the coolest shit. Like, I want this shit. I want all this stuff. And so Microwave Massacre was like just a huge turning point for my VHS collecting, where I was like, I want to buy all these weird horror big boxes. I want more horror tapes. And I got that and one other thing that I can't even remember what I got. But that tape, hugely influential. One of the tapes that I chose to blow up into, 6 foot, 7 foot bookshelf in Video Vortex. Have you seen those? You know what I'm talking about?
No, but I gotta check this out.
Okay, so in Video Vortex, when they brought me on, they were like, we picked 6 VHS covers that you want to see life like human size, like 6 feet. And I was like, what? And so you have to look at them online. They're so cool. They are literally like 6 foot VHS tapes, and on the other side is shelving. It's
that
crazy.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And so I chose Microwave Massacre, of course, because that is one of the best covers of all time, in my humble opinion. Just everything you want out of a horror VHS tape cover. So let's see. Here's a rare one. I know people like the rares. People like the hot rares. Slaughterville. I've never seen.
I don't know any of these. These are all new to me.
So this one's extremely rare. Okay, like I have never seen. It doesn't have an IMDb. The only mention I've seen of it is on Amazon, where the actress in this, Andrea Adams, mentions it in an Amazon review for another movie that she's in. Yeah, and
whoa,
it's just a low budget psychological horror. It's got some problems. Who doesn't? But it's extremely hard to find, and don't think I'll ever find another copy of it. I think one other person has a copy of it, and he's one of the most ferocious collectors that I know. So
where did you come across yours?
So a friend of mine was traveling in Texas, and they were at a flea market, and they took a picture of a table, and they're like, do you want any of these tapes on this table? And I saw Slaughterville, and I was like, what the hell is that? That's a horror tape that I've never even heard of, let alone seen. You know what I mean? And I asked them, I was like, hey, that Slaughterville tape, what do they want for it? And they're like, let me ask. And they said, LOL, a quarter. And I was like, yes, please grab that. So they grabbed it from Texas and brought it back.
Awesome. Wow.
Yeah, and then a former colleague of mine saw that I got that tape. And he was like, where did you find that tape? I've been looking for that tape forever. And he lives in Texas, 1 hour from where it was found. And he got kind of, not upset, but you could tell he was like,
himself.
What? Yeah, he's like, what? So, yeah, that was funny. But yeah, Slaughterville, I've never seen another copy of this. I mean, my friend Dan has one, but that's it.
Wow.
It's a cool movie. I don't think it'll ever come out again. Some pretty rough spots in it, but it's cool. It's a low budget psychological horror film, and it's definitely worth at least one watch. But the rarity of that tape is really cool when I have it displayed, because it's just cool tape,
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I got 3 more. I'm gonna do a recent one that I got. I posted this recently. Michael Bolton's winning softball. Okay. It's not always about the dope rares. It's not always about the hot horror tapes, right? Or the cult, whatever. This is cult, actually. But a friend of mine, Anthony, who I mentioned before, we used to watch tapes. He was the first person I lived with in Philly when I moved away from my parents' house, and we would watch tapes and play video games and stuff. And then he became a very focused collector, and he had this at his house maybe years ago. And I was like, dude, what is this? Because I like weird special interests. I was like, this doesn't even seem real. Is this real? And indeed, it is real. And honestly, I just wanted to find it in the wild. I was like, he kept saying he was going to give it to me, and I believed that he was. But I just didn't want to take his copy. And but I eventually found it for a VH steal online for think it was like $3 or something. But I have it now. And let me tell you something, okay? This is one of the most wholesome tapes that I have in my collection. It is funny. I mean, it's Michael Bolton, but I'm telling you, it's awesome. I love
Did he
it.
teach you like how to swing properly, this kind of thing?
Dude, he is so serious about this stuff.
Oh,
He says he takes softball as seriously, if not more seriously, than his musical career.
Holy shit!
So this is like a full legit instruction on how to win softball.
Standing.
He has, yeah, dude. I think they're called the Bolton Bombers or something like that. And they like,
his team.
Yeah, he has like a traveling team, and they said they would, when they travel to towns to play, they'd also play softball.
Oh,
dude, it's incredible.
What, like a pickup? What is there's
no,
like this
like
underground
league,
network?
It's like a league, and they play for charity, and it's just so wholesome, man. And it's like,
oh my goodness, I had no idea.
It's just cool to see this person who's like, you know, known for something completely different, like, you know, soft rock or, you know.
Yeah.
And then
he loves softball.
He's like, I just love softball, and after this video, you're gonna love it too.
Oh my god. This sounds amazing.
It's that vibe.
Wow. When you said you had a special interest like area, I had seen this tape on your feed, and so I pictured it because I don't know why she's not like this with anyone else, but my wife won't even allow the name Michael Bolton to be spoken to her. It's like a joke within her family before I even know her. I have no idea why.
He's so maligned, and I don't really get it. Like, I think it's just like that Office Space joke didn't help him out at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that really helped his cause. So,
well, I don't know that this would turn her around, but I am fascinated, endeared to him hearing about this softball tape and league.
And I highly recommend. I will share it with you if you can't find it. So,
oh my god,
I want you to see it. Yeah,
that sounds amazing.
Okay, so this is one from way back in the day. Remember I said that Micro Massacre was like one that really like inspired me, and so this copy of Mother's Day, which is one of my favorite horror movies.
I see the poster behind you there.
Yeah, I love it. So, found this at a dollar store, and there was a rack of these. There had to be at least 100 copies of this movie at the dollar store.
Whoa!
Like, do you remember when you used to walk in the dollar store in like the early 2000s, and there was just like one title, like 100 of one title in the video store because they're just trying to liquidate it? Did it ever happen to you?
I don't remember seeing that particular phenomenon, but it's amazing that you saw it with this.
Yeah. So there was like, I don't know, maybe not 100. I'm probably being hyperbolic, but there was a ton of copies of this just sitting there. And I wish I would have bought them all now, of course.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm like a broke teenager, like 17 years old. I'm like, oh man, this cool horror movie for $1? Yeah. So I bought it at the dollar store, and I've watched it so much that it is barely working. I watched it maybe like 6-7 months ago, and it just won't track right, but it also gives it this weird, like, cool aesthetic where it's like the colors are starting to pull apart, and like the tracking bounces in one place, and then it'll stabilize, and it goes like full drop, and the audio goes. You know what I'm talking about.
I do, yeah. This is like kind of a perfect movie for everything you're saying. The aesthetic,
yeah.
The
so
medium.
And I watched it recently with my friend Scott and my friend Devin, and we were like, I put it in. I was like, man, I've watched this tape so many times. I don't know if it's going to work, you know, because I have other copies of Mother's Day that play better. I was like, no, we want to watch this one, and it's just cool to watch it. I was like, man, there's a picture of me when I was like 16, 17 maybe, and it's a picture of me and my friend Barrett, and you can see this copy of Mother's Day on the table in front of me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'll have to send it to you.
Yeah, please do. That can.
I got my scene haircut, and I got my jean jacket, dude. You know, plain black hoodie.
Oh,
it's so just, of course, you know. This is one of my favorite tapes that I have. It's called VCR Repair to Brother Nick.
Oh.
This is a video letter from 1993. I found this at a Goodwill bins, the bins, Goodwill bins, where it's like all
Mhm.
unsorted and you just like go through these large bins of like a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
I found it there right outside of Philly. And it's just about a 65-year-old man who runs a VCR and TV repair shop making a video letter to his friend, brother Nick. And it's legit showing him how to change the belts on a VCR, legit showing him how to clean the VCR. And I'm like, this is incredible. I can't believe I found this. But then it cuts and then it comes back and he's like on his porch. Excuse me. He's on his porch showing brother Nick his new Casio keyboard, his treadmill. He's talking about how the Super Bowl's on and he can't make this video too long. Then he does this joke where he's like, check out me playing my Casio. And then he like presses the automatic song and he acts like he's playing along with it. So he's like, I got you there, didn't I, brother Nick? And then you think it's over. You think it's over. And then it switches to him showing him his flight simulator.
What?
He has a flight simulator in his house. And he's like, I wanted to show you this flight simulator. He goes through the whole thing, shows him how it works. And he's like, here's how this works. And it's like a little steering wheel that goes into this computer. And then somehow, I don't know how he did it, but you can see the screen and it shows how the flight simulator works. And he's like, here, I'm doing this. You can hear the beeps. You can see like the numbers and if he's at the right altitude, all this other kind of stuff. And you're like, wow. And then it cuts again. And then it comes back and he's like, I didn't want to leave you without showing you the shop. And we've got some new additions in the shop. So you get to see, it was called Duck's TV Repair, I think. And I've been trying to find out where this exactly came. I have to assume that it came out of Pennsylvania somewhere because that's what it looks like and his accent and things like that. But he shows all of his, you can see like, because he's a VCR repair person, and this is just so random and like ephemeral, but you can see all of his certifications from JVC and Sony, Hitachi, all framed on the wall that he has to get certified to work on these VCRs. And he walks through and he has like 2 walls full of televisions. He's like, yeah, these are the ones we're working on right now. It's like a legit TV repair shop from the 90s. And like, how else would you really see what that looks like? And it's so personal and so cool. And like, I'm writing an article about this right now, like how like this video voyeurism, how you find people's discarded home videos. And there's like this huge fascination with it, right? Like this huge slice of life. It's like anthropology almost. Like you can see how people dressed, what they said, what they talked about, what cars looked like, what a bottle of 7-Up looked like in 1994, like what home decor was like, what people were drinking at barbecues. Like all this stuff is super fascinating to me. And I'm writing an article about it for the next issue. But anyway, that's one of my favorite tapes. And I think it segues into, and this, I don't have them here, but my favorite tapes that I own are tapes of me and my family growing up. Like my first snow day, my 3rd grade Christmas recital, Christmas 2001, my parents building their house, just stuff like that. Stuff that's like irreplaceable, these memories, you know what I mean? And they're like one of one, only copy. They're just so special to me. Like it's not part of collecting per se, but like if you talk about VHS tapes as a medium, those are my most treasured tapes for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I remember I think my uncle, not the same uncle that I played music with, but one of my dad's other brothers who would often have kind of new gadgets, never really partnered or anything like that. So he had like extra money always. And, but I think he just got like a 1985 Panasonic camera. He wasn't really using it. So like in 1987, he gave it to us and my dad has this very distinct handwriting to me. I always would recognize it. It's kind of blocky, but he said it had something to do with like studying drafting or whatever, like in mechanical stuff. But anyway, so he wrote family flicks on it, 1. And so they would increase like, and he would use Roman numerals. And yeah, I would watch them a lot, and my siblings and me. And I had my own tapes for when we do the Frankenstein and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and later La Bamba and all that. But yeah, those family flicks are treasured. And So I know just what you mean. Yeah, irreplaceable. And I've digitized them so many times just to make sure, but the actual artifacts are really special. And I have them here at my house. I was like, I
Yeah,
didn't
those are still at my
I didn't
parents'
trust
house.
them at my parents' house because I was like, you guys don't care about these as much as I do. So I need to have them here.
It is a tradition now. Like I'll go home whenever I visit my parents, and I'll just one of my favorite ones is it just says party on it, and it's like a
Yeah.
bar. It's like beer and crabs party for my mom. My mom worked at a seafood house, and all the other like servers and like the cook and all my we're all there, and it's just like wow, here's a slice of life from like 1991.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's just cool to see. You know.